quick audio check, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm happy with that volume. Is everybody else? And I'm going to do another quick one because I had a pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So, hello, welcome to this afternoon stream, which now seems to be on an autofocus. Why is that? So, unfortunately, we didn't have a stream yesterday, for which I do apologise, and we shan't be having a stream tomorrow. This is because of my work shifts. So I want to kind of try and make today count, but I'm going to be doing more basing today. What I want to try and do is get this guy onto this base so we can start finalising the base. We can start to pick off all the details on him. We can make sure, I'm not sure if I've done the feet exactly right, so we can start adding a few more extra details to the base. The actual plan is, once I've got the feet in, just to pile up all of this debris to make it look right. Sorry, apologise, the music's a little bit loud. How's that? Right, so I want to make it look like he's kind of dragged his feet through, so there's going to be a build up in front of his feet and around the side, but not so much around the back. Now, so the first thing I'm going to do, which is going to be quite a bit of a boring bit, I just want to take all of this bit around the edge, just neaten that up a bit, and then I'm going to be painting that dark grey. Sorry. Also, a bit of a shout out for Horlicks 2012 Disembodied Toast Pizza and Brews, Atlantis Miniatures, and the Busy Builder, who are currently hosting my stream. If you've come over from that stream, thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much to the people who are hosting. So, let's get on with it. So I'm going to have to be quite gentle with taking this down. I'm going to use a knife, I'm going to use a file, because obviously I don't want to take away part of the base that we've already done. But where there's been bits of overhang, I kind of quite like that, and I think that will work. So this could be quite laborious. I do apologise. We'll just literally cut away at it. That's all we can do. So how's everyone been? Unfortunately, the only story that I've got is so I just had a message from one of my housemates. Apparently he's got a parcel which he wants me to pick up. So that's not going to happen right now, I'm afraid. It seems I've become... Nobody wants to know me when I'm not busy. As soon as I'm doing something, I become the most popular person in the world. Might just have to use a bigger file for that. Again, there we go. Use a big fat coarse one, I think. So it will mean that I'm going to have to repaint this edge, because where we've gone over with varnish, I'm probably going to inadvertently take that varnish down. I have to remember that this is MDF on this base. This is a new material for me. So I need to bring up my chat so that I can read what's being said. Oh, we have Alex Attempts Painting channel has just come across as well, so thank you for that. Unfortunately, you do get these little slow bits that you have to do. They take a long time to achieve, not a massive amount, but it's all part and parcel of it, I'm afraid. So if you hate basing and have no interest in basing, I'm afraid the next hour is probably going to be quite tedious for you. I'm not necessarily worried about getting rid of everything from the edge, but just as long as I can get it neat. And smooth. Now, one thing that's going through my mind right now is what would happen if I used a Dremel. Right, you see there's a little bit of the basing material hanging over. See it just there? Yes, sorry, this is YouTube. Also, sorry, I do apologise, the song requests are off. And so is the music by the looks of things. There we go. So yeah, this is the afternoon Twitch stream that goes on to YouTube. Which is I actually watched some of my videos back. Quite interesting. Like I say, the aim of this is that when I get to the stage where 2 or 3 years down the line, it'd be really interesting to look back on this. See how much better I've got, or not, as the case may be. So, and this is of particular interest because basing is something I've just never been good at. And with all these new wonderful materials that are coming out, I can look a lot better than I actually am, because a lot of this work has been done for me. Hello Launcher, how are you? Now, guess who I was watching this morning on Twitch? Who I probably won't see today because she's very tired. Well, she was saying how tired she was this morning. I saw Katie Long. It's nice to see her streaming. Absolutely fantastic painter. She does artwork, not miniatures. But she's, well, there's a lot of streamers like this, but she's just as much about the content of the stream rather than what she's actually doing. So, you know, you listen to her talk, she could sit there not doing anything other than talk, and she'll be most interesting. She was telling me, or she's telling us about a convention she went to, horror convention I think she said it was. It's starting to look alright now, isn't it? One problem I am having with this is all these little bits that keep coming off, and all I can do is just keep blowing it and tapping it, and eventually we will get to the point where no more bits will come off. Obviously my file is clogging up. I would actually recommend using cheap emery boards for this. So once I've done this, I'll shorten the little rods on his feet, and then we'll look at getting him in. I'll keep some of the pin, and then we can use that pin as a guide so we know where to drill through and put his feet, so that it goes in exactly right. Obviously if we have the long pin sticking out, we're going to have to whoops, that's going to help the little bits come off, isn't it? Yeah, we're going to have to do a bit more guesswork and hope we get it right. Shooting long range. I can, but there's these, I think some of these are like burn marks on the outside where it's been laser cut. Surprisingly amount of knife control you need. Do you know what? Scraping it a little bit more seems to be doing the job a little bit better. So thank you for that. Another stream, host from Hannah. Hannah, another absolutely fantastic streamer. Absolute loss. She was having problems the other day with her stream. I don't know exactly what was happening, but you'd kind of get her for a minute and then she'd disappear. And then it was great fun watching her try to magnetise something, and it didn't go on, and it turned out it was all backwards. And yeah, she may be a goddess of streaming, but she still has the same problems that we all have, which is kind of comforting, I suppose. Okay, we are getting there. I'm being careful. I'm trying to cut along the rim, not into it. I don't want the knife to go underneath all that lovely basing material we've just done. So again, apologies for an early stream. Again, this is the one area of my job that's not quite perfect. I was actually talking to a driver today about we have a lot of drivers leaving. There is no one reason for people to leave, so it's not like management are mistreating the drivers or anything like that. It's all completely different reasons, and I'm actually on one of the shift patterns that most drivers hate, which is split shifts. And to be honest with you, it's not my favourite shift. When I go into work, I want to get the shift done and then go home, and the rest of the time is mine. But it works best for my hobby, and it means also that I can get up at the same time and go to bed at the same time every day, which is a bit of a plus for me. It's just that my dinner times are slightly different times, but you know, bus driving isn't a 9 to 5 job, and I knew that when I signed up. And the reason it's not 9 to 5 is because we're getting 9 to 5ers to work, so we have to be out before those 9 to 5ers, and we're going to go home after them. And a lot of people are saying, well, this job isn't the same as when I signed up, and you know, I might be complaining about the same thing when I've been here 3 or 4 years, and then it might be time for a change. So I said to one of the managers when I first started, "Hello Jan, how are you?" There isn't really a hell of a lot of progress, I'm afraid, on this. But I'm just kind of desperate to get him stuck to the base. But just like most models, you make a lot of progress with base paints to start with, and then you kind of slow down, and then it might speed up a bit. So I'm just trying to get this base smoothed off so I can then just get him put on. So yeah, when I first started here, one of the comments that were made was about the fact that I travel around a lot, and they were asking me how long I'll be here for, and I said, honest answer, I don't know. I said I might be bored in a month and leave. It might be a bit longer, I might stay here forever and retire. And I said I'd like to put in 6 months, because you've put in a level of work to train me, so it'd be nice if I can give some of that back. And I often, the pay clerk, she sees me and she says, are you bored yet? Are you bored yet? And I'm like, no, I'm still alright at the moment. But I used to think I was all about the work, and I used to put in long hours, and I used to do about 60 to 70 hours a week, and you know, I'd come home with a big pile of money, but I just wouldn't have time to spend it. And then all of a sudden I'd have a big splurge on buying crap, and I just all of a sudden realised it's the time I need, isn't it, not the work. So here I am, I do a little bit of overtime, and when they need me I'll do a bit more. But yeah, I'm doing about a 40-hour week, pretty much doing a shift, and I mean, the job can get boring at times, but you find me a job that's super awesome all the time, and I'll find you a liar. But I say, the jobs, I can smell burnt wood, so I know that I've filed this right down to the bare wood. So for today, and all lunchtime streams. Oops, I apologise if you're not loving the music, because this is going on YouTube, and YouTube are very hot on copyright music. I have a playlist of non-copyright music, and YouTube seems to get on well with this, and it's not really offensive music, is it? It's music that just anyone can enjoy. A little bit like Jan's channel. A lot of his music, you may not love the songs he's playing, but he doesn't play anything that anyone hates, if that makes sense. Right, okay, I'm happy with that. It's nice and smooth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another layer of matte varnish just around the edges. So we're going to seal it in the same way that we did with this. Because obviously where I've been filing it, I've probably taken the varnish away. All I've got to do now is find it. As you know me, things move. Ah, here we go. Right, so don't need a massive amount. And I'm not going to use a best brush because I don't feel I need to. So yeah, Love Mini says, now you have a hobby that takes your money. Yes, it certainly does take my money, especially the Lego element. Oh boy, does that spend my money. In fact, there's me complaining about how Lego has literally taken all my money, and I've do you know what? I just had an idea that might make life a bit easier for me. This may not work. Just going to get one of the Citadel paint handles because it's smaller than the base. There we go. That will just enable me to hold it. So all I'm going to do is just pop a little bit of varnish along the edge just to seal it. So obviously, as you know, MDF appears to be one of the most absorbent products known to man. I know because I made some shelves once made out of MDF, and I left the window open one day and all the rain got in, and it was like where the rain had gone, it kind of bubbled, but it absorbed all the water, which was not fun. So it didn't kill the shelves, it just made them not as efficient. So I'll give that a minute or two just to dry. Don't want to paint over it, it's a bit thick that wasn't it? And then when that's dried, I'm then going to paint over that with I've forgotten the colour now, a really dark grey, Skaven Blight Dinge. You will hear me use a lot of Citadel paints because I'm trying to get rid of them. Now that I've discovered Vallejo's and Reaper and Foundry paints, I want to try out Scale 75 as well. And I'm getting to the point now where I'm using different brands for different projects. So like for example, when I want to do African skin, doesn't matter what the colours are, best colours are out there, I would go for my little range of Foundry paints because I know they work well, I know they're pretty good. And then for another project, some of the lighter skin tones, I really like my Rekarth Flesh set list. So that looks dry enough to me. We'll just pop a second coat on. In fact, I'm going to be a little bit flash now, and just so I know my start and finish point. Because if this dries very quickly, I could just be going round and round and round in a circle all day long. Right, that's sealed that quite nicely actually. You can tell by the way the second layer is going on, it's not absorbing it as much. I feel like I'm painting on paint rather than painting on something else. There you go, I've gone right round, look. Right, that little idea I just had of putting the blob of paint on actually wasn't the best idea in the world, because as I've been turning the paint handle, you see my fingers now full of paint. But it's got to the point now where if I don't go back to work with paint on my hands, they're like, what have you really been up to, Penny? So, good day at work yesterday. It was a bit of a strange one. The heat was so bad. I get really grumpy in the heat, and it really wears me out. And I've done extra overtime. And the thing that actually stopped me from having a hissy fit, of all the things, was the fact that work had provided us with 3 bottles of water, and one of the girls had brought in some ice cream, and it was a 20 pence bottle of water and a dollop of ice cream, and I was happy again. Funny that, isn't it? Can't believe we spent 25 minutes scraping a base. Right, so I'm going to cut his little pins off with the there we are. I'm actually starting to find things. So I want some pin, but I don't want too much. So I'm going to change it more to a locating pin than anything else. And then what I can do is so I can clearly see now that I have actually no, that's alright, that's a good fit. So what I can do now, if I just push him a bit, there we go. So there I've made 2 little indents. So all I need to do now is, come on, I'm on a roll, I'm finding everything today. Let me find my drill. I've used my drill fairly recently, so it shouldn't be a million miles away. There we go. Oh, green stuff, look. Right, I think I've gone all the way through into the paint handle there. This one I'm going to have to be careful of, because where I'm drilling, it's see, it's not going to go into the paint handle, so if I'm not careful it's going to go right into my finger. There we go. if I've done that correctly. That's how he's going to fit on the base. You see there's quite a bit of cover up I'm going to have to do. I've not filled in enough of the base, but that's fine. Okay, liking him. I could actually have done it with a little bit more. That's fine, we'll live with that. Right, so now that's the colour I'm going to use to just edge the base. What I was told quite a while back, I used to do my bases black, or sometimes if I was doing, say for example, corn troops, I would do them corn red. The corn red ones didn't particularly work out too well. I know that's a brown one, so I do apologise. But someone said, oh, do them an off black, and it tends to produce a nicer colour. It's neutral, but it's different. Not sure if I'm actually using the right words there, but it's because the very early bases that I did brown, because I figured that what the base was, it was supposed to be where you've taken the model and you've cut into the ground around him, and then you've picked him up, so you've got a bit of the soil. But that's not really the case. So it's a layer paint, so it's going to be quite thin, so we're definitely going to need at least 2 coats. And because I tend to overthin my paints, I'm probably going to need 3 coats. Jan, are you still around? You might be able to answer a question for me. I've always believed that if you overthin your paints, it's not the end of the world, it just means you've got to do an extra layer or 2. But I was, someone I was watching the other week, and they said about, oh, this is how to tell if you've overthinned your paints. Is there actually a problem with overthinning? Or is it just that you're creating a little bit extra work for yourself? Sorry guys, I'm focusing a little bit. I'm trying to get the line dead straight along the top, but I'm not worried about the bottom. Right, okay. That certainly makes sense. So like some of the GW's paint. So what we're talking about here then is, although I tend to overthin my paints, we're talking, when we're talking about overthinning, we're talking about thinning way more than I do. As I say, this is thin, probably a little bit too much, but nowhere near to breaking point. You can see from the coverage, it's really thin. But that's just kind of how I got used to it. I'm so scared of not thinning enough and leaving brush marks, which is why I tend to overthin. Sometimes I've tried to not thin them as much, and I go from one extreme to the other then. Well, we've got a visitor in the house because I can hear so that's the first layer on. So I'll give that a few minutes. Monkeys with Fire, how are you? By the sounds of things, we've got some work guys downstairs putting in a laundry room into one of the spare bedrooms. And what they've had to do, they've had to wait for someone to move out of the next room. Oh, I'm really good. I'm just loving life. But you know me, I always love life. Yeah, what they've had to do is wait for someone to move out of the room so they can dig the floorboards up and then run the pipes for the pipe work. And they started doing that last week. But judging by the chugging noise, they've started running the pipes because it's just gone. So, have you seen this troll from the Monsters box, Monkeys with Fire? It is absolutely magnificent, and the more you paint it, the better it gets. In hindsight, I think they should have doubled the price. So what they supplied us with is this absolutely fantastic forest troll, which I am just absolutely loving. I got this one. There was 3 different ones. And then what I've done is I didn't put the original base on. What I did was I just put a big thick layer of green stuff on it, just to make the surface uneven, because I knew I wanted a sort of a foresty, muddy base, which obviously wouldn't be even. And then I painted it brown. I even dry brushed it as well to give it a bit of detail, and then I've slapped all of the basing material on. This didn't come with it, I'm saving these, and just put a big thick layer of PVA on, and just stuck it in and just put it all on and just left it. And you see there we've got like little bits of stone, we've got bits of whatever that is, looks like ground up leaves, wood bark, some little twigs in here as well, bits that didn't quite, I guess this was all blended, and these little bits that didn't quite make the blender, and it's just all added to the variety. And it's just, to me, that's like, well, that says autumn to me. And then a couple of the little purple tufts, just to, because the struggle we've got here is it's all non-colours, browns and greens. The most colourful bit we've got is his tongue, so that is always the struggle, but it's just coming out really perfect. So I think we're probably going to need just the 3 layers. I might need 4, but we'll see if I can get away with 3. And this is just to give it a neutral edge where you know where the model stops. That's how I see it anyway. Always happy for people to correct me. So what I'm doing here, this is my daytime project. I tend to have little focuses during the week. So we have Mondays. Mondays we try to strip it right back down to basics. So we've been doing bases, and we've been doing layer paints and a bit of dry brushing, and just all the stuff that after a while you kind of forget is important because you just do it every day, and you forget there's people out there that don't know how to. I will give that a 4th coat, but I think 3 coats will be enough. Shouldn't have done that. Right, and the music seems to have stopped again. I don't know if it's down to my PC. Oh, that's a really good idea. Vallejo primer watered down is a good base rim. Fantastic. Except I've got rid of all my Vallejo primers in favour of Steinler Rex. But we did actually do an interesting experiment on Sunday, if you're interested. I spoke to or emailed Games Workshop the other week asking them about Imperial Primer because I can't seem to get hold of it. And I'd heard rumours that they're reformulating it, and they come back and they said, yes, that is true, we are reformulating it, but we don't know when it's going to be back. In the meantime, try a little bit of Abaddon Black thinned down with Lamia Medium. Well, of course, that raised more questions than answers. And because what they're effectively telling us is use a paint as a primer. So we did an experiment and I got 10 figures. 2 of them I did, the first one I did just with primer out of the airbrush as a control piece. And the next one I did the same primer but brushed on. And then we used various things, like we used Abaddon Black straight out of the pot, we used Abaddon Black thinned down 50-50, and we used Abaddon Black one part paint, 2 parts thinner, medium, sorry, and we used another base paint because we just wanted to make sure Abaddon Black wasn't a special paint, maybe that had certain properties in it. And then we used a layer paint, and then we did the same with Vallejo model colour. And to be honest with you, see if I can get them numbered. The primed ones, after we did that, we then I got a dry brush and I gave them a bit of abuse for the dry brush, and then I rubbed them with my fingers, and then I got a toothbrush onto them, and I really gave them a lot of abuse. And the primer, this is the airbrush primer one, you see that it has lost a little bit of the primer, but the amount of abuse we gave it, I don't think anyone would be unhappy with that. But what really shocked me was these are the Abaddon Black ones, and you can see that it's taken all of the abuse. Where they look patchy is just where the paint is thinner, but even the ones that were other base paints, the only ones that didn't fare too well was, if I can find them, are these 2. These are a Vallejo colour. One has been thinned with water and one has been thinned with airbrush colours, and you can see that this really couldn't handle it. This one, for example, the paint's all come off the belly, it's all come off the little nodules. So the conclusion that it wasn't a highly scientific experiment, but we did treat all of the minis the same. So from this point on, I'm going to be using Games Workshop base paints as a primer, because I think that worked perfectly. So there's my base done. I'm happy with that. There's a couple of little bits on it, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. Now, I can't remember which way round this goes now. I might actually repin this. I think I might have cut the pins too short. Right, there we go. What might be a good idea actually is to make those holes bigger, so it makes them easier to aim into. If I make the holes funnel shape, rather than a hole, then hopefully that pin will slide into it. Otherwise I'm going to have to repin this. So obviously once I put super glue on this, I've only got a certain amount of working time. There you go, I'm happy with that. So, right, super glue. Because once I've got this done, it's going to be a little bit easier to handle. I found this quite difficult to paint on the corks. I found it wobbles a bit. Ah. Ah. That's not working as well as I hoped. So there is a lesson learnt here, and that is, do cut the size of your pins too long. I think I've put a little bit too much faith in the Gorilla Glue. When I pinned him, I want to pin his. That's going to be a real struggle. Why is that not gluing? Right, okay. Whatever I'm doing here, it's not working. Oh, the struggle. I think I've not actually done the base flat enough. I think what's happening is where I put glue, it's not actually making contact. So I want to make sure that, but I don't want to put too thick a layer of glue on, because I don't want it squeezing out over the edges. So I'm going to have to glue him by his toes rather than by his feet. Right. I think the only thing I can do now is leave him, let that glue really set, which is not as much as I want to do today. But what I'm going to do, those little gaps there and in there, I'm just going to fill those with a little bit of PVA glue, and I'm going to chuck some more of the material, of the base material in. That will fill that hole. And then I think that will finish off the, but you see there it's not, I've not gone it flat enough. There's a little gap under his foot, but that's not going to be a problem. I think he's going to stick quite well to this base. I do trust this Gorilla Glue. I think it's the best glue that I've used. So yeah, so unfortunately guys, I want to let this glue set, and I think the best way to do is to leave that until, well, you can see where I really missed with the paint look. So yeah, too much handling, I think it could just fall off. It feels like it's stuck, but I just really want to let it cure. So tomorrow I'm not going to be streaming, so this is going to get nearly 48 hours to dry. But what I'm going to do off stream is I'm going to make a kind of something to go on it, so that I don't have to pick it up. The base is going to be quite difficult to pick it up by, and I don't want to pick them up by the model, so I'm just going to put a little something, even if it's just a piece of card, so that if I stuck something to it I can then pick it up like that. But I don't think that's going to be worthy of streaming, even if it's just like a block of wood or something, and I'll glue tack it to the block of wood. And yeah, I'm liking the position of him. I've put him a little bit further back so that the actual base can become a bit more of the model, but he's at the same time he is fully on the base. Just trying to get a good angle, so you can see he is on the base, but obviously the natural thing would be to put him right in the middle, but I want that base to be part of it. It's a diorama rather than a figure on a base. I'll also have a little play. Now it's funny that with the lichen I'd originally said 3 pieces of lichen for the base. Once we had a little test position, we thought, oh, 3's going to be too much, and now that I've put 2 pieces on, I'm starting to wonder if 2 is too much, so I might just end up putting that single piece on, just something, just to add a little bit of something. But something that we did yesterday on the Back to Basics, when we were mucking around with bases, and we were talking about putting tufts and things on to cover up the stakes. And what I did was I put a tiny piece of lichen. Let me just get this focal point changed. There we go. Little tiny piece of lichen I put on, and it kind of looks like a mini tree, doesn't it? So that's turned out really well. So I might look at using that idea. But this is the great thing about the hobby, is that you can always change your mind as you go along. That's going to need a bit of a sand actually. So right, so yeah, that's it guys. I'm afraid I can't really do any more, but we're only about 10 minutes before the end of the stream anyway. So what I do now is I invite ideas for a raid, and then I completely ignore you all and then go and raid someone else anyway. Thank you Mr. Swarm, thank you for that follow. That is extremely appreciated. So let me have a quick look on my granny computer tells all. I got two little computers. One's fairly good and one isn't so. Now we've got a choice of 2. We have a lovely Australian guy called PD George, and we've got Silent is streaming as well. I suspect everyone's going to jump in and say, let's raid Silent, because we haven't seen him for a while. So are you all up for a Silent raid? I'm sure there was a joke there I just made. Or we could go for the smaller stream. Oh, actually PD George is playing Dungeons and Dragons, so no offence, I'm going to be raiding. Oh no, thank you. It's funny that one thing that I realised with doing the back to basics on a Monday, I seem in the last year or so, I've got myself so wrapped up in oh thank you, got myself so wrapped up in trying to learn new techniques, trying to do the stuff that the great painters are doing, that I just seem to have completely forgotten all about the basics. And the basics are everyday stuff, layering paints, shading. Oh, we've also got this guy to put on. Forgot about him. So we'll find a place for him. Right, yeah, so okay, so I'm going to hit that raid button. So thank you everyone for watching. I'm going to hand you over to Silent, 19 Silent 79. Absolutely great guy, but he does come with a channel intended for mature audience as warning. So hope you have a lovely afternoon, or if you're in America, hope you have a lovely morning. It really depends where you are. But yeah, no, you guys take care, and I'm now off back to work to do my schools.